Raiders owner gets statue in New England. That was the headline from Saturday. It really is just weird.
Why?
Star for 20 years with the Patriots, and he's an owner not of the Patriots but of the Raiders. It's just weird.
Yeah, well, it happens.
There's just something weird about it.
We've seen it happen in professional sports before. I mean, I hear you, but it's a very small stake.
Give me one example. Well, give me an example of a guy who was a legend with one team who became an owner not of that team but a different team, one of their rivals.
Oh, a rival? I don't know. But I feel like there has been that in basketball or baseball maybe where it's happened a little bit. I mean, we've seen Magic Johnson be the Dodgers and do that. But, yeah, you're right. I don't know if I've seen in-sport rival that way. I got to think about it a little more. I feel like there probably is other ones that were, like, on another team as far as owner is concerned. But, I mean, I don't think it's really all that weird. He is a legend in New England.
Let me give you the ultimate comparison. Identify for me a professional athlete with a statue unveiled of him who owns a piece of another team in that same league, a team that he got to his first Super Bowl, his first championship, to broaden it to other leagues, by beating this other team in one of the most memorable playoff games of all time.
Yeah.
I know I've defined it very, very narrowly, but that's my point. The whole thing's just weird.
Yeah, it is. Okay, I guess it is. Right. I didn't think we were gonna. The Great Monday, awesome statue. We're gonna talk about weird. All right.
I don't know how awesome the statue is.
It is a cool statue.
Really
it's a
awesome?
cool story. Yes. Okay. Are you just gonna be negative on everything that comes to your face? Okay, yes. Jerry Burns of the Minnesota Vikings over there with your shirt on.
Off.
Jeez, you look like an old man.
Let's see.
Old man there.
Let's see.
It's a great statue. I think it's really cool. It is a cool.
There's that one angle where something looks off.
And we've seen like coaches or players be awesome on a team and go coach on another rival team or whatever else. I got to think about the owner thing. That's very rare. He's rare. He's the greatest player in the history of football. So, yeah, he's breaking down some boundaries here. That's why maybe things are a little weird. He's breaking down boundaries as far as he's made more money and as much money as ever before. So he's one of the first players ever to be able to buy a stake in a franchise. So,
especially when it's sold at a steep discount. It's sold at a steep discount because the owner wants to have a new best friend.
All right, that's not Tom's fault. Good job, Tom. Way to fleece the owner.
Right place, right time.
Way to go.
Right place, right time. Anyway, Mike Vrabel at one point, as coach of the Tennessee Titans, was inducted into the New England Patriots Team Hall of Fame and probably said just enough that weekend to eventually get fired by the Titans. So there has been some weirdness that all leads back to one of the great teams of all time and all the championships they won and what they're trying to do there. And the Patriots are trying to recapture some of that by hiring Vrabel. I'd just love to know, before he bought a piece of the Raiders, did he make an attempt to buy a piece of the Patriots? And I can't imagine any owner other than Mark Davis giving a piece of a team away that far below market. But anyway,
I hear you.
Just keeping it real.
Yeah.
And you don't like my new shirt? How dare you?
It is. You were kind of acting like Jerry Burns, get off my lawn and all this old man stuff. So I just started to go that way. Looking like all disheveled on the sidelines like Jerry did that back in 1988 when he was, in every big game he coached in.
Here's why I went that way. I'll be completely transparent with you. I needed to pick a direction other than where my brain had taken me, because he talked about what Jets fans may do to that statue. I'm wondering what Bills fans may do to that statue, what they might tape onto that statue, okay? That's what I was thinking about.
Wow. Okay.
Because we know there's a dynamic that's been unfolding recently in sports that is unprecedented, and it's bad. But it's not completely unprecedented because it did happen the last few years. Tom Brady went to Buffalo, and we'll just leave it at that, because I think he's going to be back there twice this year as a broadcaster based upon the Fox schedule of games. So anyway, that's where I initially wanted to go, and I went in the other direction. But then all roads lead back to
the original
thing that I thought of about Jets fans. And by the way, his speech, it was like leftover jokes from his ill-fated Netflix roast.
Gosh,
like he told 5 or 6
You're just going to kill him, huh? I mean,
I am.
Wow.
I am.
I mean, why?
It's got to be balanced. Look, I am not one, as you might have noticed, I am not one to just blindly join the parade of let's go kiss the ass of all the big stars. A star,
I know, but don't not
the
kiss them just to not kiss them. That's what it seems like it is sometimes. You're just like, everyone's right, I got to be left. I got to. Yeah, everyone's happy, I got to be mean. That's just the way it is.
Yes.
Right. Well, that's a horrible way to live life.
Have you not figured that out by now?
Well,
no, it's not.
Sometimes,
I've actually done pretty well
I'd
this
like
way.
you to go logic and yeah, but then that's why you need to lay on a couch and need to find a psychologist. We've had this discussion. Yes.
I didn't.
Yes.
Well, and you still keep showing up. You still show up.
Because they pay me. Right. They pay me. Right. That's right. They pay me.
I've yet to hear any feedback that, Chris is really thinking about leaving the show. So when that happens, then we can have a serious discussion about the way I am. Until then, I'm going to keep being the way I am because it pays the bills and then some. Maybe enough bills that someday I can buy a piece of a team.
You can't even buy a Ferrari. You put it in the Hyundai.
Oh, I can.
Well, you can show me.
It's not a
Prove
Hyundai.
It's
not a Hyundai.
One of those cars, one of those
Not
things.
that there's anything wrong with a Hyundai.
Sure.
The official sponsor of PFT Live.
Hey, I like the Brady statue. I think it's cool. I did like it. It looks pretty good as compared to what we've seen with other statues out there in the world. Right? It's in a cool spot of that stadium. I mean, that little area right there. It is pretty special. They have gone above and beyond supporting their best player in the history of their franchise. I mean, it's a little crazy at times, but I'm not going to be mad at him for that. We know the relationship he's got with the Kraft family and all that. And, I didn't see the whole speech, I don't think. I think I just saw a few lines here and there. But either way, I tend to like Tom Brady rather than poo-poo him all about his ownership and his statue all the time.
Part of this comes from my general belief that no one who is alive should have a statue. Okay, that's part of the problem. Part of the other problem is I don't know that anybody should have a statue because why are we deifying humans? That's another thing. Now, I know we beatify humans. What's the word? Is that the word? That we make them saints, but that's more of a religious thing. This whole thing of lifting up certain people above all others and making a statue of them, it's a little too close to idolatry for me, but that's okay because if anything, I'm a lapsed Catholic at this point. Also, since we're going down this path, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Should there be a Bill Belichick statue on the other side of the stadium?
Of course. I mean, that's without a doubt. Yes. I mean, none of that happens. Brady doesn't happen. Nothing happens up there without Bill Belichick. Right? I mean, again, I know Brady was the man. He was better than he got credit for coming out of Michigan and all that. But, yeah, I am a huge believer in that everything there goes back to Bill Belichick. And he made Brady into what he is, the leader, the player, all that. It was in there with him, but like we talk about all the time, sometimes you got to have somebody bring it out of you, right? Michigan didn't see in him to think he was that special. But so, yes, Belichick 100%. But I don't know when that's going to happen because – him and Kraft seem to be going back at each other with passive aggressiveness here over the last few years.
Well, and whatever buttons needed to be pressed on Brady to bring the greatness out of him, they didn't do it at Michigan. Lloyd Carr didn't know or didn't care to find the buttons or didn't have the ability to find the buttons. And it may just be that it was a perfect confluence of events that resulted in everything that happened with Belichick and Brady. And I don't know what Brady would have been without Belichick. We saw one example of it, though, after 20 years in the NFL. You can't say Brady would have been a Super Bowl winning quarterback from the get-go just because he won a Super Bowl in his first year after he had been formed by the influences of Bill Belichick.
Yeah, right.
If he never encounters Belichick, is he a Super Bowl winning quarterback? I don't know. If Belichick never encounters Brady, is he a Super Bowl winning coach?
Fair.
I'm less confident about that than I am about Brady becoming a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you there. Listen, it takes a special marriage. It takes, like you talked about, the aligning of the stars. I mean, we could go through that in a lot of teams in history through back through sports and everything there. Would. I don't know if this coach would have got there if he didn't have that great player, but I don't know if that great player would have got there without that coach. You can dive into that a lot, and it was a special marriage. That's all we do know. And it was a marriage in, like, just absolute discipline, dissection. We're going to be tougher. We're going to work harder, right? We're never going to let any bad thoughts seep into our brains. We're never going to say anything in the media. I mean, they just did it in a way where it fit both of them so perfectly that it became that Patriot way, the Patriot mystique, right? And that's where it was just an awesome marriage, both of them together.
By the way, I like Jerry Burns. If you want to call me Jerry Burns, I'm honored. Jerry Burns was a great coach, underrated. Not that he ever got within sniffing distance of a Super Bowl. Although in 1987, the Vikings upset the Saints, upset the 49ers, one of the great playoff upsets of all time, and then had a chance to beat Washington in Washington at RFK Stadium. And
Derek Jeter did own part of the Miami Marlins, right? So there's one.
Well, you're really changing the topic.
Yeah,
I know,
well,
but
I mean, back to Jerry Burns.
Are you putting the Marlins anywhere? Are you putting Marlins anywhere close to the same level as the Yankees, especially in baseball?
No, the Yankees are like the Patriots. The Raiders are like the Marlins. That's what I would say right now.
I'd say the Marlins are like the Pottsville Maroons.
Well, the Raiders have been a lot like the Marlins here for a while, all right?
Didn't the Marlins like...
They won a World Series in the early 2000s. The Raiders haven't, so they, I don't know.
I don't follow baseball closely enough to have a clear impression of all the teams, but I've got the Marlins in my mind as they're just ass. Of course, I've got the Pirates in that same category for entirely different reasons, but oh well. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.